So first of all, I was just wondering what got you to the summit this year?
Well, we've been investing in, Polaris has been investing in energy for 3 or 4 years now, and we have been meaning to come for several years, and finally Ira figured out how to get me here.
Right,
yeah,
good.
that's right.
So we're in a pretty tough economic environment, obviously, and I'm just wondering if you're seeing certain themes that have come out of this summit that are sort of influencing some of your thoughts right now as you're looking at clean tech as a thesis.
I think the big point for me is, we talk about the cyclicality of support for clean tech or green tech or energy investing. And I think a key point here is we just have to forget the cycles. The cycles are going to come and go. We just have to keep working on it.
And one thing that's been very interesting for me, talking about doing more with less, getting the costs down. Are you seeing some similarities between the work that you did in Ethernet and in networking, starting to cross over into what you're doing in clean tech?
The analogies between the internet and clean tech are very strong. But and one of those analogies is if you lower the cost of something, you don't use less of it. You use more of it. So it isn't less energy.
Well, less material, but you get more overall growth, and you have more.
Well, we're going to use more energy. We're going to find a way to make energy cheap and clean,
right.
So we use much more.
Well, what analogies or what similarities would you paint between your earlier work in Ethernet and networking and what's happening in clean tech? Where do you think there's similarities?
There's 100 of them.
Yeah.
One of them, for example, is the status quo is represented by entrenched monopolies that need to be broken. The network is key, the smart grid in this case. The importance of setting of standards for that network. The idea that we're going to go to distributed, from centralized to distributed and networked, and the fact that we should prepare for an abundance rather than a scarcity. The fact that we need to make energy cheaper, not more expensive, because it's a factor of production and the growth of our economy. Those are all lessons from the internet that you could apply to energy.
And I think you talk about standards. Obviously standards were critical in your earlier work. Have you been involved in any standards setting or working with standards groups around smart grid and other activities?
Not very much. I mean, the IP standards are going to play a big role here, so we don't have to make new ones of those.
Fair enough.
But I have been involved with Zigbee, which is a wireless networking standard that is finding use with smart meters and the smart grid.
And just sort of to close up, and if you look out over the next year or two, what do you see coming down the pikeway? What sort of, what you think some of the big areas of opportunity are?
Well, we're going to make steady progress in getting the cost of solar down and down and down, and who knows, we're close to having grid parity. We may have already achieved it, it's hard to tell. I think nuclear is going to come out of the woodwork. We heard today, for example, that nuclear is on DOE's agenda.
It is, that's right.
Even though it's not in the Recovery Act, it's on the DOE agenda. So I think nuclear will surprise us.
Are you looking at nuclear in your investment thesis right now?
I've looked at 5 nuclear startups. I haven't invested in any of them. I can't yet because of the uncertainties of the NRC regulation. But I can see a day when that'll be possible.
You think about modularized sort of
not
small
the big
scale
reactors. Those are like mainframes. We're talking about personal computers, small modular reactors.
Well, it's great to have you here. We're really glad you could make it.
I'm sorry it took so long for me to get here.
I hope you come back.
I'll be back.
All right, great.
Thank you.